Well, I'm going to plane this. I can get away with a 3/4 inch thick threshold. I still got a 1/4 inch clearance on the top. But we got to plane this. See this? All this is straight, pretty well straight. So I just got to plane a little bit here. Only a few inches in. Back on this, I gotta pound this nail down a little bit. Alright, we're gonna bang this down a little bit. This nail right here. Take a little of this off here. We'll take that off. We'll come back in the video in a minute. Alright, it's leveled out now. Now I'll be able to drop a 3/4 inch piece of wood in there. So we'll experiment with that. And we'll do is we'll take out these 2 strips in here and put in a 3/4 inch piece of wood to make sure that the door clears the top casing here. Alright, I got a couple of sticks in here to get that over. It's not too bad. You got a little clearance there, but I'm not going to worry about it. You got to have room for the door to open. So I'm going to take and put these hinges with shorter screws, because this is temporary right now. And I'll put more permanent screws in afterwards. Coming down to about here. And we'll make this sure that the other one is the same distance. We'll put it right there. We'll get 2 screws in here first, and then I'll finish doing the rest of it. Normally I'd use the drill driver, but we're going to drive bigger screws later. Right now I have to check because I'm right up against this top here, right up, and I don't know if it's going to bind or not. Here I have a little space. Can't quite get this screwdriver in there, but I have a little space. I have a 3/4 inch piece of pine at the bottom simulating a threshold, and in case I have to drop this down lower. So we're only going to put a couple screws in here. We'll put 4 in here, but we're going to put a couple in here because if I have to adjust it a little, I don't want to have all 4 holes, you know, moved 1/8 of an inch, because it screws them up. Trying to, you know, make another hole very close to the one that's already been made, in case I have to change it, if you know what I mean. We'll do it by hand for now. Hopefully it's a little better view for you. This door is fairly heavy. I figure then whatever this distance is, we'll make the bottom one the same from the... I don't follow any certain rules. What looks good to me, that's the way I do it. Two screws in here for now, and if the door operates properly, then I'll put the rest of the screws in. We'll leave this in place. I was going to paint this on the flat because I want to put the oil base on here and let it soak in, but we can paint it on the vertical. We only got this small area to do here, not that long of a door. Now, I'll measure this and I'll do the bottom one. I'll do that off camera. Well, a little binding action there, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. I can shave that a little bit rather than to try to cut this. Because this is cut perfectly square. You know, if I was a carpenter, this doorway would be perfectly square too. Now, I decided for strength, instead of having the hinges, you know, this door turned around this way so that this piece of plywood here would be the support. We figured we'd use this whole piece here and screw into this, so the door is really turned around. This was the top. It doesn't matter because I trimmed all 4 sides perfectly flush now. So what I'm going to do now is to finish putting the screws in that. And these screws are 1 5/8, 1 1/4. That should be fine for now, and then I'm going to put longer screws in there and better security. I'll probably put carriage bolts in there and make it more secure, but right now this is good enough because there's no deadbolt on here yet, and that'll be another thing. But I'm going to be able to paint it. I can paint it better hanging like this rather than I want to try to get some paint on it on the edges at least. But it's a temporary board here, and it won't be left here. I'll use something. I'll have something with more of an overhang, and I'll take and use my power planer, and I'll make a threshold out of a wider piece of board than that, and I have it sloped down to the outside so that any water hits it, it'll run down and out. So I'm going to screw up this, and I can eliminate this turnbuckle here and just leave this one to close it for now until I get the deadbolt and everything. Again, it's not secure, but there's nothing in there of value anyhow. Alright, I'm going to paint this on the edges primarily. Alright, well, you can see it's just a basic single coat, that's all, just to protect the wood. And when this dries up, I'll make the hole for the deadbolt. That'll be on a later video, or later on in this video, depends on how long these videos are. Usually they have to end up in 2 parts or more. And then I'll paint the red. The redwood will be painted when the whole thing is completely done and completely dry. That could be several days from now. What I'm going to do is I got to measure from here to here. Then I got to notch out for this. So the threshold is, the wood's about, I'd say about 5.5, 6 inches wide. So it's going to lay across here, but it's also going to overhang a little. This was the temporary piece I had in here. But the other one's going to fit like this, but it's going to overhang and a little bit, but then there's going to be another piece right here. So it'll be like kind of like a windowsill type of thing. So I'll plane it down so that the water drains out. So we're going to go over to the bench now and I'll show you the piece of wood that I got that I'm going to make this out of. Alright, this is pressure treated. This is a 1x6. Cost me $1 at Home Depot. It's, oh heck, it's over 6 foot, over 6 foot tall. So it'll be enough to make the top of the threshold. I'll slant this side down, and it'll also make the front part where the threshold will come overhang probably about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch. Okay, and I'll take my measurement from that point there back, 30 1/8 inches. Now you may not be able to see it, but cutting it that way, it's a little under 30 1/4 and a hair over 30 1/8. I don't break it down to 16ths, and the closest cuts I ever make on any woodworking thing is 1/8 of an inch. Everything else is trial and error until it fits tight. So I take little shavings off to make it fit in tight. That's how I do it. We're shade under 30 1/4. Now I can come back and skin this off a little bit with the blade. That's not a problem. Like I've said so many times, you can always cut off, but you cannot add on, not unless you want to fill it with caulking. I've done that before too. Well, she fits right in there. That's the way I like things to work. Now, what I got to do is to notch out the 3/4 inches for each one of these moldings on the side here. That door, hopefully, is still closed. There is a possibility this piece of wood might be a little thicker than that piece of pine I showed you. If it is, we'll take the power plane and we'll bring it down a little bit, because I made this so it really fits tight, so I doubt an ant would be able to get underneath there. Although it's not ant proof, but it will be mouse proof. I had to hammer that in, so it's a little too tight, so we're going to take the blade and shave off just a little bit so she fits snug, but not so tight that I have to bang it in. Obviously you don't want it, when it gets water in there, you don't want it to expand and buckle up. So you want a tiny, less than a blade thickness of space there. So we'll take care of that and we'll come back on the video. Alright, as you can see, this is why I'm not a carpenter. I keep telling you that. Alright, I have to plane this down. Now the rest of this stock will be up under here, so when I put that under there, it'll be another 3/4 of an inch overhang, and that's what I want. So what I'm going to do now, because this door is binding on it, is I'm going to draw a straight edge from here over to here, and I'm going to plane everything out this way, and I'm going to put an angle on this with my power planer. And then when that happens, then I can nail this down properly. Okay, we're ready to power plane. Well, damn battery crapped out on me here, so, and Tommy's at work, so you missed some of the power planing here that I did. But if you look here, I got a bevel on here, and we're gonna try it out. This is where the door will close like this, and there'll be no more binding, and I want this to be so that the water can run off of it. I might have to hit it with the power plane. As a matter of fact, I can feel a little high rise here, so I'm going to do that right now. You'll get to see me power plane this. Okay, here we go. Take it over there and see how she fits. Okay, here we are. If you look at that, you can see how the taper is here. I don't know if you can see that in the viewfinder or not. That's exactly the way I want that door to be. That overhang to stick out. And then the other piece will go like this. She'll still stick out about a ½ inch, which is perfect. And this is pressure treated. This is the other part of that wood there. So we're going to get ready to nail that into place now. Okay, I put one nail in off camera just to get it, make sure it fits good, and we'll finish nailing here. Yeah, we'll put number 6 in there. I may drive a couple more in there. But, that way any water comes in. Of course you've got the roof up there. The overhang. So that really shouldn't be any water unless it's wind-blown rain or something. Talk about a press fit. All I did is stick that thing up in there. So now she's stuck over. She's not all the way up, of course. I got to bang that up a little, about 3/4. But anyways, that's basically how it's going to look. I'm just going to pre-drill this and nail this in. So this whole stoop will be pressure treated. Because when I built this one over here, 15 years ago, this is the original shed. When I put the roof on this and added this addition, because this is wood here and inside is metal, this is regular furring strip and this is all rotting out. So what I have to do eventually is I got to move this stoop. This is all pressure treated, but this wasn't here years ago, and so I got to knock this out and put some pressure treated in there, and I've got a piece for that, but I want to take care of what I'm doing out here first. Alright, I'm going to be nailing that in now. I got it all fit into place. Charge the battery. Okay, this is how I wanted it. So she's got a little overhang here. This is all pressure treated. Now, this has to stay until I can get the deadbolt in here. A piece of the trim, which I've got inside the shed, will come down here, and if it isn't long enough, because these are 4 feet, it might have to end here. I wanted it to come down to here, but these pieces are only 4 foot long. Same with this side, and I have to notch out a little bit for these hinges. Alright, I'm taking measurements now. I got to cut a little notch out for the hinges so that it comes flush with the bottom. These are 4 feet, so they're not going to come all the way down to the bottom like I hope to, but you know, the price is right. So what I'm going to do, just mark here. Just where I got to notch out a little bit from the hinges, so that the trim will come even with the plywood, and as even as I can get it down to here. Well, I notched out around the hinges as best I could. We'll get the top nail in and then we'll line the bottom up. Okay, the door can only open as far as the tree anyway, so there's no problem with binding or anything else. Just tack that in there just a minute there and see how that looks. Alright, I'll go pre-drill this and finish nailing this up. Alright. Had a little trouble. I had to go to number 8's. But she's in there. I'll have to just add a piece here or leave it like this. I might just leave it like that. You know, I don't need the piece coming all the way down to the bottom. Would look better, but like I said before, it's not a house. Now what I got to do here is to put a trim here, but I can't really do that until I remove this and I put the deadbolt in here. Otherwise I got no way to keep this door closed.